alaikum. Welcome new episode program guests from Palestine. Today we have a special guest with me here, Dr. Ayman Al-Ghattas. I met Dr. Ayman in a coffee shop last week on the market, and I lovely asked him to be my guest, and he be very happy for that. So, Assalamu alaikum, Doctor. How are
Alaikum
you?
salam.
How is
Thank
things?
you.
Everything good?
Good so far.
Yeah,
very
Doctor,
good.
could you please tell me about yourself, about your life?
Well, I'll take the time I came to Ireland.
Yeah.
Well, I came here some time ago, about 25 years ago, to do medicine in Galway, and I graduated from the University of Galway. It used to be called the National University of Ireland, Galway, where I completed my course, graduated, and did my internship in Galway as a doctor, and worked for some time, and then went back home to Saudi. Well,
To Saudi Arabia.
yeah, where I.
So,
worked.
as I know, you are from Jaffa, from Jaffa?
Correct.
It's
Yeah,
called-
my parents come from Jaffa.
From Jaffa.
My mom and dad from a city called Jaffa, which is, as you know, on the coast, the East Mediterranean coast, So Jaffa was occupied in 1948, so my parents were forced out around that time. I think it was around May of 1948. There was a massacre in a nearby village, one of the villages of Jaffa.
Mm-hmm.
And, people were hearing the bad news, like the news and everything was spreading fast.
Yeah.
Without seeing any photos or picture of it. But people were hearing, that the Israelis went in a village and killed such and such and killed so many people. So they escaped and were forced out because of fear for their lives, and they went to Gaza. The plan was to go to Lebanon first, but then they realized, we better go to Gaza because we will be there for 1 week or two, and then we go back to Jaffa.
Yeah.
And this 1 week or two became more than 70 years now, 77 years,
Yeah.
And Jaffa then was occupied, and, the story of Jaffa, they extended it to Tel Aviv or Tel Rabia. And, and I was born I wasn't born in Palestine. I was born in Saudi. My dad moved there in 1954, and we lived there. We went to school there. And when I finished my secondary education, high school, I went to Belgium for a while, trying to do medicine in Belgium. But there I studied French, and I realized, being from the Middle East, English is much more needed than French. So, but I learned French, and after that I decided to go to Ireland.
And why, Doctor? Why you chose Ireland?
Well, Ireland by coincidence, yeah. And in fairness, why Ireland, not England, for example?
Yeah.
Ireland came by coincidence.
I don't think so. Ireland.
No. You're right. Yeah. It wasn't very popular as a place to go to, but actually, that summer when I finished my secondary school in Saudi, I was in Jordan, Amman, with my parents, and I was young, 18 years old at the time, I think. And I was near a library, or let's say a bookstore, and I found a small book about universities all over the world.
Oh.
And then I was looking, like university. Yeah, I was flicking through the book, and and then I found the name Ireland. For me, Ireland was I heard about the the IRA, but I was young. I wasn't really aware of the stance of Ireland towards the Palestinian issue. So, and then I read the name, the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. That attracted me, the name.
Yeah.
Then I went to the embassy in Jeddah, and I asked the ambassador. The consul there was a very nice man, and they were very helpful. Yeah.
And what's the difference between Ireland and, let's say, Arabic country like Saudi Arabia? It will be difficult for you, Doctor, as you know, because you're that time young man. You are alone.
Yes.
What's the experience? Would you like to share with other people, with other Palestinian young, maybe many young people, they're planning to move, to go to different countries to make study?
Well,
What's
now,
your message for these people?
like when I first came to Ireland at the time, we talk about 25, 26 years ago, things were much different. Like Ireland at the time in the 1980s, 89, 90, you know, there weren't many foreign students at the time. There were few. Like, so, yeah, there is a huge change. It's not huge, let's say, but you are faced as a student, yeah, the cultural
Language,
shock,
culture.
yeah, the cultural shock, the food, and the climate shock as well,
The weather.
the weather, yeah, exactly. And as you know, like, you know, but in fairness, Irish people overall, compared to other, yeah, I lived in Belgium.
Yeah.
So in Belgium, things were much different than Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, first of all, because Ireland was more, the people I think are simple, more simple, simpler,
welcome
more,
other
yes,
people, yeah.
they're more accommodating. Like in Belgium, I lived in Brussels for 2 years or 1 year and a half, exactly. And their things are much different. Though there was a big Moroccan, you know, communities, but there weren't many people in Belgium I met, let's say, from the Middle East. You know, North Africa, plenty of them, but because, you know, the language.
Yeah.
Most North African know French and they go there.
Easy for
and
them.
they were, yes, very easy for them to adapt. For me, it took me a while in Belgium. Like I spent 3 months with a Belgian family to study French, and then when my French improved a little bit, I moved out, lived in a house, and I made friends from the Greek community. And you know, like, but Ireland much is, I'd say, if you compare it to other European countries, 25 years more welcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think towards Palestinians, let's say the Palestinian, they can relate to what we go through. Like, you know, I know the history of Ireland was not easy. Like, you know, they were, you know,
Under occupation.
colonized, exactly, occupation of 800 years, not 50. Like we are only, as a Palestinians, 80, nearly 80 or 100 years. But the Irish, they suffered a lot, really.
And we share same,
history.
like, same history, you know.
Yes,
Sometimes
British.
British.
We were under British mandate as after the Ottoman Empire, the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, and you know the story of the Balfour Declaration, 1917, and then, you know. But I think there is the Jews from Europe, let's say, or from, they started arriving in Palestine in the 20s, 17. You know, after the Balfour, before the Balfour Declaration, like it. And they were welcomed by the local people, the Palestinians. They were accommodating them in their homes, giving them food. And then when they became stronger, they turned against the natives, you know, and they claimed.
Actually, doctor, this story, my grandfather, he told to me, we from Haifa city, you know, see, Haifa, it's near to the sea.
Very close.
So the boat, when they are coming from Europe, they say they have signage on the board, says we are
welcome
refugee and we want peace
true.
and this and that. So at that time, my grandfather, he says, no, they're kind people.
Poor,
poor people, we will
correct,
help them. So after that, you know, they start killing
getting
people,
stronger,
getting stronger and getting more funds from Europe.
Yes.
And they start to make foundation of the Israel, you know.
Yes.
On that time, they start killing, start displace the people. Same story, doctor, almost. We share same story. Maybe
there is a village. There was a movie about a village in Haifa, Tantura.
Tantura,
You heard about the film?
No.
I saw parts of this film. It's an Israeli. Well, it's done by Israelis, and they talk about how the Israelis, then the Jews, not the Jews, but the Zionists, they went into the village Tantura, and they described the village as a beautiful village. Ladies were beautiful, dressed nicely. They were rich to some extent, and how they massacred those people. They raped young women. They killed ladies, you know, families. They gathered men around, you know, 15, and they shoot them, you know, and Yeah, so it was a mess. Yeah, that's true. But Haifa, as you said, Haifa is a beautiful city. I visited Haifa.
Are you been in Palestine,
Yeah,
doctor?
yeah.
How
I've
many
been.
times you visit Palestine?
Oh, I can't. Well, you know, my mom had a family in Gaza, so we used to get a permission to visit our homeland. We need a visa to go.
Okay.
We need a visa or a permission to go to Gaza, and from there, you know, at the time, like in the 70s, maybe I was a kid. Like I used to go to Palestine as a kid when I was maybe 10, 11, 12 years old. But I'm aware of like the city. I'm aware of Gaza. I know my cousins and I know my grandparents and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I visited. You know, at the time it was easy to travel. What they call the so-called Israel, which is Palestine historical, like Haifa, Jaffa, where else? Akka, Acre. You know, and you move around the West Bank. Yes, yes.
48.
Yeah. I visited most of the cities of that were occupied in 19, like Tiberias, I think. I don't know how to say it in English. It was a lake, yeah. I swam in the lake actually.
You are so lucky, you know. I
Yes.
never been in Palestine. You know why? Because suppose that, as you say, if I'm going to my country, I have to take permit for that.
Correct.
And, you know, I suppose
they won't let you in if you have no family.
I suppose no, really, they will not accept.
No, you have to have a first degree relative.
I have my auntie there.
Auntie, yeah, but if you have
Jenin, you know,
yeah, a lot of a lot of.
But
people.
never, doctor. If I will not accept, you know, I will not go to
some
embassy
people
in Amman
to get a visa.
To get a visa. That's big shame, you know. I will not accept that. I will, inshallah, will be there in Palestine
as a Palestinian.
Palestine free, inshallah.
Inshallah, yes.
Doctor, you've been here before 25 years or so. On that time, you feel there is awareness for Palestinian cause here in Ireland?
I was in Dublin, so I did the Living Search in Dublin. That I'm talking about 89, 90 now. And I think there were some awareness, we used to have a small kind of student union for Palestinians attached to the embassy. So we were about 5, 6 students all together, you know, and some were, you know, not interested in politics, you know, coming from different countries from the Middle East, you know, to study Palestinians, let's say living in Qatar, living in Saudi, living in Kuwait, you know. So for Irish people, I think there was some awareness. When I moved to Galway, where I did my medicine, like I remember I had a photo of Yasser Arafat, Allah yarhamu, and a friend of mine, she visited me and she told me, this man is a terrorist. Oh. She's Irish, like, but she's a young lady. Like, she was like my age, 19 maybe, or 17 even, she was younger. And I was shocked when she told me that, because she perceived like the PLO leader as a terrorist and he kills innocent people.
Doctor, let's stop on this point.
Yes,
we see many people before they says Arabic are terrorists, Palestinian are terrorists.
Yeah,
so
that's
who's
true.
Responsible for that? So
well, actually,
this idea in their
head, you know, it's the media. Like, look, like when we were students here, you know, I was watching the Irish news, let's say, the channels. At the time when I first arrived to Ireland, they had the cable. So you would have Sky News and all these media, Western media, you know, they framed the Palestinian, let's say, or the Middle Eastern person in certain, how we call, boxes. You know, like the Middle Eastern guy, he's Muslim, so they don't know we have Christian people living in the Middle East, like in Palestine. He kills, you know, that's all the Western media. And this came from the Americans as well. You know, like Fox News, faking news, you know, and they show only one side of the full picture. So only the Western side, like the American.
So the media itself, it's the responsibility.
Was and very responsible then. Yes.
And after Gaza war, we see that social media. Let's see now the people there.
They
see, they can see. Nobody can
people
play for them, you know.
exactly,
So
because
they have the full idea now, and they know this Palestinian people. They have
they
genocide
suffer.
actually. It's
Yeah,
suffering as genocide.
yeah,
You know, over 20,000 kids.
correct.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
they die in
they
Gaza.
killed.
Over than
Yeah,
50,000. You know,
yes, they
number.
killed. Like the whole world saw it. Now this
So the idea, I mean, it changed
situation.
now.
Yeah, the Israelis played a game. You
Yeah.
know, they played it for the last how long? Since the Second World War. That you know, they were persecuted, let's say in Europe, let's say, or in whatever, and they gave them Palestine to live on as a homeland by the decision of the colonial powers at the time, like England and France and America and whatever. But those guys played the game very well, you know, because they convinced the Europeans, or the Europeans were ready to be convinced that those guys suffer.
Yeah.
And if you say anything about them, you know, they criminalize you. Now, if you go to YouTube, okay, and you watch something about most of the YouTube, you would see a lot of documentaries about the Second World War, the Nazis, the Holocaust. You know, so the Israelis, or let's say they played the game right.
Yeah.
They played the role of a victim.
Yeah.
And that role gives them the excuse to massacre Palestinians or to massacre anybody who goes against them. You know, the logic they have. So for them, a Palestinian is nothing. You know, and they claim, and some of them say, when we landed in Palestine, there was no nation. It was an empty land. That's a big lie, of course. You know, and they, you know, but this is the propaganda. And who helped in that propaganda? Of course, the Western media, because the Jewish lobby in the States is very strong, and he dictates the policy of the states. You know, before the war in Gaza, or the 7th of October, people were not aware of the real color or the true color of Israel, the reality of them. They're murderers, they're killers, you know what I mean? Because most of the Israelis, you know, they look at us, the Palestinians, who should not exist. They want to wipe us.
They say the Palestinians are animal,
exactly.
human, right?
Yeah, and that's what Hitler's propaganda did at the time. They said the Israelis are like rats; they're not human. So if you have a rat, you kill him.
Yeah,
you kill the rat. For him, the Israelis, you know, they told that statement like, "You have gallant. We are human animals,"
yeah.
you know. And so when you dehumanize somebody, you're entitled to kill them, to you know, burn them, put them in the sea and kill them, whatever, you know. But we as a Palestinian, we are looking for a decent life. Like our famous poet, Mahmoud Darwish, said, we are a people like to live and enjoy life like the rest of the world. We like to live. نحن شعب يستحق الحياة إذا ما استطعنا إليه سبيل. So, like, as you see, we're normal human beings at the end of the day. We want to get up in the morning. We don't want trouble. But when our land, when Palestine is occupied, so we feel we are stripped of our right to exist. We don't have a country. But for us, we feel we're deep-rooted. Like I was born outside Palestine, but I feel I'm 100% Palestinian. Because my roots are so deep there. You know, I know my parents come from Jaffa. Okay, that's all I know, but I know it's true. And my parents lived there, and my grandfather lived there, and he worked there, and my great grandfather lived there, even before the 20, is it, or whatever? Psychic speak, when they divided after the World War, you know, divided the Middle East. They put a line here. This goes to France. This. It's all imperial.
It's like a cake, you know.
Exactly, a piece of
a piece of cake.
They cut it into small. This part is for you. This part is for me, and you know, and they occupied the land. and they, like the colonial forces or powers at the time, you know, like Palestine was given to Britain, I don't know how, under the British mandate, Syria to France and Lebanon to France and Jordan, British and those guys. And they, you know, and then they said, here we go. So they know they divided us. Like, look at us now. We're divided. Yeah. Like for me as a Palestinian, I only think, let's say, of Palestine. I said there is 10% of the Middle Eastern or Arab people, they feel, yeah, we belong, this is our own world, the Middle East or the Arab world.
Yeah.
But you have 90%, they only work for their countries. Like, let's say I'm whatever, Lebanese, I'm for Lebanon. And in some countries, like let's say, you know, I work for my sect. You know what I mean? Like if I'm a Muslim Sunni, I'm for the Sunnis. If I'm Muslim Shia, Shia. If I'm a Christian Orthodox, you know, you know. So we are so divided now, and that's the problem. So many differences were created to divide us, and it became successful. And that's what they did. Like if you go back in history, the Europe, you know, when the Ottoman Empire was they call it the Elman at the end. They became very weak, you know, and that's how they destroyed the Ottoman Empire. They planned it over many years, maybe 100, 200 years, you know, because, you know, even I can feel sometimes, like, let's say, I remember when I was in Belgium, you know, as a Muslim, you don't feel at ease, or as an Arab, let's say, forget about religion, but you don't feel comfortable. No, you know what I mean?
Why, Doctor? What the reason of
because that? Of the stereotyping. Like I remember when I was studying French in my class, the image about me coming
Arabic people.
Yeah, is you marry 4 women, you don't drink, you don't eat pork. What else? Marry 4 women. What else? You know, they put you into boxes, certain boxes, like stereotype. You know, stereotype. If you say I'm Palestinian, that means you're okay. You're a terrorist. You kill people, innocent people. They're Jews or whatever. You know, and that's the problem. Stereotyping. You know, stereotyping. Like, let's say, okay, for example, let's say the way I perceive the West, the stereotyping about the West. Let's say it's a rich world. Maybe they have a good education system. Maybe that's not stereotype, but that's true. You know, like the perception, like let's say most Europeans are blue eyes, blonde hair, but this is not the real image, and that's the stereotyping. You know, you know when you go like about the Middle East, so you have the Middle East like the Levantine countries like Palestine, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, maybe some parts of Iraq. And those guys, they are a real civilization.
Yeah.
And very old civilization. Like Jesus Christ was born in that part of the world, in Bethlehem in Palestine. Yes. So this is like, the Holy Land. So we are a civilization. But we are, because of the media at the time, not now. Now I'm talking about the TV, the cable. Now the social media showed us the real picture. We were watching a real life genocide happening at the moment or anytime through the social media, Instagram, Facebook. Everything is broadcast and people are watching. Why you think the Israelis, if you think when the war started in Gaza a year, 15, 16 months ago, the Israelis did not let any foreign or European groups or agencies to go inside. You know, they were thinking, we're going to hide our murder.
You know, the journalists are a target now.
Yeah, they kill them every day. Everybody's a target.
Yeah.
Like you have, I think, Hussam Abu Safiya, he was Kamal Adwan hospital, the head of the hospital. and they arrested him for no reason. I know he's going to be released sometime this week or next week. With inshallah, yeah, we hope so. So you see, like, that's the problem. But it's a genocide. And now after the genocide and after killing more than 100,000 people and injuring another 100,000, they want, because those guys think, okay, we need to have Israel for us, the bigger Israel. So we kick the Palestinians. They don't even call us Palestinians. They call us Arabs, and they want to kick us from Gaza. They want to kick us from the West Bank. So we don't exist. And they say, okay, you have 22 Arabic states. Why don't you go and live in? So for me, it's the same. I could question exactly.
Why don't you go, for example?
Exactly. Why don't you go?
Take them to California.
Exactly.
Maybe they are happy there.
Like Netanyahu, he's Polish. Go back to Poland, your country. Okay, and if you're not happy, go to America. If you feel you would make more money in America, go. And we don't want to leave our country. We don't want to leave Gaza, the West Bank, Jaffa, anybody, anywhere.
It's destroyed, doctor. Now
even if it's
no place to go, people actually they have no place.
Yeah, because we believe that if you lose your homeland,
you will never back. You will never get
and
it again.
You lost everything. You lost your dignity.
Our grandfather mistake.
Exactly.
I say that always.
Yes.
It's same. Yes. My grandfather,
they took the keys.
Take your kids and just go away 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that, you can't get back.
And this Nakba.
And we have the keys now only. Yeah. We have nothing.
Nakba after 80 years or 100 years. Yeah. You see this Nakba now, and in the 67 war, we lost more land and more cities, and so we learned the lesson. We know if we leave, we're finished. Even if maybe we live a better life, let's say if we I don't know, God knows, but I'm just giving you an idea. If you go and live in Jordan, or maybe you become good, you can and enjoy life, get up in the morning peacefully, or Saudi Arabia, and earn money, and your kids goes to school, then university. No, we know.
You feel something.
Yeah, we are attached to this land.
Yeah.
This land for us is everything. And we need this connection between us as Palestinians and our homeland. We are there. We came from there, and we will die there. We're not going to leave it.
I hope so.
Very simple. Yeah, I know. But some people may say, well, you live in Ireland and you're enjoying life and it's easy to talk. Okay, it's easy to talk for me. It's easy to take. But I'm sure most Palestinian people, they don't want to leave. Sure. Most of them, let's say 80% of them, maybe 20% got fed up or got tired and they want to go. They're not happy. Okay, I understand that. I mean, what Israel is doing right now, the famine, the deprivation of food and water.
Them,
they want to
leave their country.
Yeah, they want to wipe us out, literally. Finish us from. That's it. And we know if we leave our country, we lose our dignity. 100%. Yeah, nobody's gonna respect you. Even if you, whatever, acquire any citizenship, there is no place like home. Yeah. Home is home. Like I know, like Jaffa, and I love to go back, and we shall return, and we will never forget the Israelis. Those guys right now present we'll never forget them, and we will never forget, and we will never forgive them for what they did. They say they're defending themselves. We are defending the same right you have to defend.
We have land.
Exactly.
Our rule, our truth to defend ourselves.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Which is very sad, but that's the reality we are facing. Yeah, we need to protect our existence.
Dr. Ayman, what does it mean to be a Palestinian?
Okay, let me tell you, for me as a Palestinian, I was born outside of Palestine. I never lived in Palestine. But Palestine lived in me. You know what I mean? We suffered a lot when we left at home. We have a saying in Palestinian, a proverb in Arabic. you lose your dignity when you leave your home. If you're not at your home, you have no respect, no dignity. And that's what we believe. So to be a Palestinian, there is a lot. First of all, you have no identity. Like I mean by identity, a document.
Like passport?
A proper passport.
Yeah.
All what we have, a lot of Palestinians.
Travel document.
Yes, travel documents. Like you have a travel document, and this travel document, you know, education is difficult for us. Education, to have proper education. I'm not talking about any education. Some countries, like in the Middle East, they give us education to secondary school, and then you can't study after that. Like go to university, or if you want to be educated, you know what I mean? So to work and finding a job as a Palestinian, it's not that easy to work, I don't know about Europe, but I'd say maybe not, but in the Middle East, it was difficult to find, let's say, some countries, not all the countries now. I'm not talking about all the countries. We like you say, you live in a country and you have a document, travel document. So you go to school or you work to earn money, but it's not that easy. For us, life, since we left our homeland in 1948, it's been a struggle, continuous. Take the example of Palestinians in Lebanon now.
Yeah, Lebanon and Syria, I think.
And Syria, yeah. Syria lately suffered, before they were okay. But if you look at Lebanon, I remember before in Lebanon, I don't know if it's still existing, there are 70 jobs a Palestinian in Lebanon cannot do. He should live in a refugee camp, you know what I mean? And I don't know if they changed the system, and that's why we want to go back to our homeland. We suffer a lot. We are oppressed by our actual situation because we left our homeland. Let me tell you one thing. Nobody in this world, can tolerate you, if being a Palestinian and living in their own country. You know what I mean? Okay, they will accommodate you. They will take you in and maybe help a bit. Like I remember I saw one guy, I think in one Middle Eastern country. I won't mention its name, okay?
Yeah.
And he applied for a job and he got the job. But because his accent was not similar to the locals, they had to fire him.
Wow.
They discovered he's Palestinian. So he cannot work at reception. He has to have, I'm serious, that's the situation.
It's a funny story.
Yes, yes.
But it is.
That's the reality.
Oh my God.
If I was in my home country like Palestine, if I was in Palestine, I can, like for me, I never had a football team, Palestine, for a long time, till the age maybe 18, 19. We never heard of a Palestinian football team or basketball team. So, how would you feel as a person? Like you see, for example, people are screaming and shouting about their teams and national teams, and they're happy. Well, let's say the Kuwaiti team wins a match, or the Bahraini, or Jordania, or any other country, or Lebanese, or whatever. So we live. If I'm right, in some Middle Eastern countries, as a foreign body. You know what I mean? We were welcome to some extent, but not very welcomed, if you can say. So the Arab countries did a lot of work for us. I'm not saying no, but there is no place like home, I tell you.
Yeah, sure.
You would still suffer.
Always home, as you said before,
Yeah, always home. So we have to go back, and we shall return.
Doctor, how we will return the Palestinians?
I think
this by resistance or by go to
no resistance.
UN and
no way.
Just
UN is useless. I tell you, we saw it over many years.
Maybe it's good, doctor.
Maybe peace. I don't think the Israelis like Netanyahu.
Of course,
they don't want.
I'm just joking. It's
yeah.
We see that they cannot take ceasefire. They cannot stop the ceasefire in Gaza.
Yeah. Because like when you have extreme groups, they killed, their own Prime Minister Rabin because he was willing to have peace with the Palestinians. even like the Likud government now, for them, even the Palestinian Authority, which is very flexible and which are trying to have peace to some extent, they represent a danger to them. For them, like they said, Oslo Accord or agreement or whatever is a threat to the existence of Israel. So if I think that for the Israelis, or let's say, the Zionists, to give the Palestinian a country, if they agreed, let's say, when they agree, it's a threat to them. They feel that that's the beginning of their end. Now, for them to give a Palestinian a proper existence, a decent one, is a threat to them. They want us to be always oppressed, suffer. Like you see it in the West Bank. Like if they put you in jail without a trial for 10 months at 1 year. Without a trial. What did I do? Just your crime is you are a Palestinian. And I saw a lot of Israeli soldiers talking. They go in the West Bank. Why they raid the homes at night? People are asleep in El Khalil, Hebron, and then they raid the house at night to frighten the people. You're never at rest. All the time, Like I saw one guy from, I think, Jerusalem, and he has a shop connected to the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Yeah.
And they were willing to pay him hundreds of millions. Yeah. He refused, He
Even
passed.
for us, doctor, we have our land in Palestine, Some people come to us, discuss about with family, they want to buy
To
it.
sell,
But we ignore that.
Yes.
They will pay millions for us, really,
Yes,
doctor.
I
But
know.
we ignore it. It's occupied,
Yeah.
Yeah, but we will never sell the land,
Yeah. We learned the lesson from the first Nakba, the Nakba in 19.
Sure.
Like our grandparents and parents said, we leave 1 week, 2 we go back. And now it's more than 100 years we never got back.
Doctor, you are being here in Ireland and Palestinian and Arabic culture. What's the difference between Palestinian culture and Arabic culture? I mean, our Palestinian and the Irish culture.
Well, the Irish,
similar. There is something
similar. There are some similarities. There are some differences. Like we have the Palestinian dabke, for example.
Yeah.
They have the Irish dance. That's very nice. It's a cultural exchange. The food is very different. Let's say with the way, but the Irish food is nice as well. You have some. So I say the culture. Ireland is more of a European culture. It's more of an agricultural culture. So Palestine is agricultural as well. Our grandparents, I'm not talking about the cities, but I'm talking about, villages, and they had their own farms. And it's similar here.
Similar, very similar.
They have farms and people are simple.
And the family.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's a very important point. The Irish family is not, compared to other European, it's still existing. It's not fully destroyed. It's not fully destroyed. I mean, yes, Ireland is becoming more and more secular, I know, with the young generation, but they still have family ties. Very strong family tie. Like you could meet an Irish man or woman at the age of 30 and they still live with their parents. They look after their parents, some of them as well. They look after them,
Dr. Ayman, in general, we ask the guests, what's your message for Palestinian people? But today I'm going to ask you, what's your message for the Irish people?
Well, what I would like to see, but I've been seeing that in Ireland, the message to Irish people to support us, to stand with us shoulder by shoulder, to help us, in any form of help. I'm not talking about, I don't want, let's say, what you call it, the Irish people to send us weapons. No. Or but the Irish people can do a lot in Ireland. Because why I rely on the Irish nation or the Irish people? Because the Irish people had suffered before, and they know what does it mean to be ostracized in your own place, in your own country. They understand what it does mean to be a second-class citizen. You know, they lived that for some time, and now they gained the independence since the 20s, 1920s, and they're a different nation. They're progressing, you know, and they are very successful. Like you saw, the Irish people in America, a lot of them are successful. You know, so my message to them: please, please stand with us, help us, and if you have anything you suspect or you don't understand, you can still ask us to explain things to you. You know, we as a nation, my homeland, Palestine, was occupied. And that's the real cause of the problem, the main or the root cause of the problem. The fighting between us, the war, or is not because of religion, as the Israelis try to portray it. We are terrorists, we are barbaric, we are savages because of the religion. No, I don't hate Jews because they are Jews. A lot of Jews are good, many of them actually.
And they support Palestine.
Yeah, and they support Palestine.
In UK.
But it's about occupation. There is a land, a homeland. We were kicked out of it. We were forced to leave it, you know, and it was occupied. And we want this back. It's our right. We have the right to exist and to continue to exist. And I believe with the help of nations like Ireland, maybe Spain and Norway, and many other countries, and the free fighters of the world who stood by us, we will return with the help of. So we need your help a lot. We need your support to us in any form. You can, for example, accommodate students to come to study 5 every year, whatever, I don't know, all over Ireland, you know, give seats for students to study, you know, help us with exchange, like education.
Culture exchange.
Culture, exactly. So we have to continue. The struggle shall continue and we shall return. And we will never forget what the Israelis did to us, this time especially. You know, they claim October the 7th, it was a very big crime against the existence of the Hebrew or the Jewish state or whatever they call. That's not true. The war started before that. The crime committed by the Israelis, the whole world has to understand before that. It started in 1948 and even 1920. You know what I mean? We fought with them. So they occupied the land. So it's not about religion. We have Christian Palestinians, you know, and they feel the same as myself. I'm a Muslim Palestinian. Okay, I'm not extremely religious or very religious, let's say, but I respect, you know.
Respect all religions.
Yeah, I respect all religions. So the Christian Palestinian feels the same like me, you know. He's Palestinian. That's the most important. The first thing is Palestinian. Then comes the sect or the religion or whatever. But the first thing, we are united as a Palestinian nation around one thing, which is our homeland. Hello. So as you see, so I think that's the situation. So as I said, we are grateful for the Irish nation as well, that they have accommodated us, they welcomed us. Like for me, I'm so grateful to Ireland. They gave me education. You know I paid for my education, my family paid, but I'm so grateful. They allowed me to go to the school, medical school, and finish medicine. And they welcomed me here, you know.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
And by the end, big thanks for Dr. Ayman hosting us today. Big thanks for Jamal behind the camera. Big thanks for the people who will like and share this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you for watching the episode. My name is Muhammad. My friend Jamal is behind the camera. We have many ideas for creating contents, but we need your support to develop them. Even it's just a small help, it will be useful. Scan the code and click on the support link for more details. Thank you.